All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today for our webinar on business analytics. We're very excited to be launching this new module within VisiCase. We've got customers on here. We've also got other providers across NDIS, aged care, mental health and other community sector businesses. So we're very excited to share this with you today. All right, so let's get started. So I guess we've shown this business analytics to some of our customers already, and one of our customers has described it as a game changer for NDIS and aged care providers, which is very encouraging for us, and we're really excited to bring something so innovative into the market as well. So what we'll cover today is a few different things. I guess firstly, there will be a Q&A icon at the top of your screen where you'll be able to ask questions throughout the presentation. So we require that this is done obviously via text and not verbally. And then we've actually got someone who'll be responding to those questions as we go through. And for any key areas, we'll raise them again at the end of the presentation. So feel free to use the Q&A button and it should be at the top of your screen to ask questions as we move through the presentation. So the objective today is we're wanting to demonstrate VisiCase's new business analytics module and show you the benefits and how it will vastly improve the way you run your business, and in particular dig deeper into your data and represent that more effectively and with a much more aesthetically as well. So Fiona, who I'll introduce you to into a moment, will be doing an overview, which is coming out of the fog, and then we'll be touching on the key features and benefits of the new module, and that includes understanding whether you're hitting your critical KPIs and learning how to do that, improving safety using predictive visualization, understanding service margins to increase profitability, and predictive recruitment. And we'll be showing examples of each of those in a live environment. And then Adrian will be providing a final word, an overview of the system, and then we'll be going through some special promotions that we'll have for those people attending today. So I'd like to introduce you to Fiona. Fiona is a tech expert and has been developing this technology for the last 12 to 18 months, and so she's really championed this effort. And so I'll hand across to Fiona. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tony. It's wonderful to see everybody. Hello, everybody. We are so excited here at VisiCase to give you a sneak peek at our new VisiCase Analytics. Myself and Adrian started this journey about 12 months ago, and I'd just like to give a little bit of an idea about the vision of what we were expecting to deliver, what we're delivering, and then I'll actually do the demonstration. So I'll just hand over to my presentation here so I can take control of the screen. Okay, so are you there, Adrian?
Yes, I am.
Here we go. Adrian's our absolutely wonderful CEO, and what our vision was when we had a chat about what we wanted to do with VisiCase was to be able to take the wonderful data that our clients have in VisiCase and actually make it useful and visible for all, because there's such a great deal of information, but we needed to make it accessible. And when we talked about what that meant to us was coming out of the fog on a straight line, straight road, out of the data fog into the light. So Adrian, maybe a few of your insights from way back then?
So I think the usage of the word fog in this context, I heard it first from you, Fiona, since you joined us, well, yes, about 18 months ago as a Chief Data Officer for VisiCase. It was a newly created position, and I think it was a good decision which it's bearing the fruit you're going to see today. It is actually we heard from some of you around the table that you have enough data in VisiCase, but of course you would like to make more usage of it, to understand more, to understand what value you can get out of that. And that was actually our motivation to start on this project. Oh yes, and Fiona here shows, you know, if the previous slide was showing a fog as in the weather event, but here we have actually, it's equivalent in data. This is in fact a real live, it's a real picture from the demo system. In the middle is Adam, which you hardly can see the name there in the middle, where is a blue patch right in the center, and Adam, which is actually who is a test user in our demo system. It's a virtual person, obviously. That's about the data that we store about Adam in the demo system. You can
and
see
isn't
how
it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? We can have all that wonderful information about Adam. The trouble is, and I expect many people have the same challenge, is we put lots of great quality data in, but how do we actually harness that, wrangle it up, and actually make good business decisions with it? Not only for our businesses, but also for our wonderful clients, because things like client portals and things for their family as well needs to be crafted so that it's easy to use, simple to see, and make sure that we're hitting every goal and every target that we set. So yeah, this was really scary when Adrian did this with our demo VisiCase system. This is the sort of data and that there is about one client, and how do we make sense of that? A big spreadsheet, I don't think, cuts it anymore. We need to be much more insightful.
Correct. And you touched upon the client portal, and just a sneak preview, we have a revamp of the client portal, which is due in a few weeks. You'll find more information about that. But here it's about actually making sense about the global data that you actually get in across the organization and how to extract value from that.
Lovely. Right. Thank you, Adrian. So yeah, the wonderful data and the structure of VisiCase inspired us now to do what we do. So that's all of the introduction. Now you actually get to see it. So the first thing that we're going to shake you through is one visualization that we have is understanding your basic KPIs, because as most people do, they have many presentations that they have to give to the executive team, their carer teams, their boards, and most people would do something in Excel or PowerPoint or download something and do a presentation. What we're talking about here is a one-stop shop, and using the latest visual technologies that they use for the genome mapping presentations, which is called R and Shiny is the technology we're using. And what it does, it can put hundreds of these particular visuals all in one place, and it's really very intuitive. So what I'm going to show you now is our client demographic KPI visual that is very easy to use. So this is the new look of VisiCase. We had great feedback about our mobile version of VisiCase. And so what we've done is, rather than reinvent the wheel, we've actually used the same techniques and same structure that we use on the mobile. So you'll see it's very easy to use with very simple buttons. And that means our clients, their family, our workers, our executives all get to see the same structure and message. Okay, so the concept. Yep.
This is the new look of VisiCase Analytics, basically.
That's right.
Because during the development over these last few months, there were different approaches. We had different looks. So this is the latest one for VisiCase Analytics. Yes.
That's right. And it's like the mobile. So what I'll do now is we'll go through. I've got samples and out of our demo system of KPIs for our clients, our safety, our workers, and our business. Okay, so we'll start with client demographics, and this is how it works. What we've got here is a screen that looks fairly simple to understand. We have client demographics, we have revenue down the side, the months along the bottom, and each of our locations as the legend. So as you can see, quite simple. One of the features is that you don't need a drill down because you can just hover over and see exactly what the values are, which is nice. The colours may look a little odd, but they're actually done so that you can look at a lot of information next to each other, and the contrast between one and the other colour is actually as clear as it can be, so you can see many pieces of data very easily. So what I'll do also, there's a little hover over here that gives you a lot of power now around the visuals. And then also we have a filter button up here. So what turns this fairly plain graph into something that is very much about data mining is our filter button. And the filter button does many things, but one of the things it lets you do is change the actual y-axis. So if I want to change, don't want to look at revenue at the moment, but I want to actually have a look at number of service hours, which would be one of your KPIs. We've got a selection here, but you can have all of your client-related KPIs here. So if I pick service hours, now it's by hours and month and location. So instead of having many spreadsheets or having to put things in presentations, you can use this to do that. Another option that you have here as well is we can change the timeline. So now that's only a certain set of months. And then also down here, we can also use all of the lovely client demographic information out of VisiCase to be able to filter and slice and dice. This one here has been de-identified, so it just says a client number, but it would be usually the names of the clients. Here's our outlets here or locations. We can search it on the service that it is. So this particular area is an NDIS client, so you could actually do it by service. You can do it by the suburb that the client's living in as well, male or female, working age bands. So what we use for this is we actually go to the Australian Bureau of Statistics and use the demographic groupings that they use for their reporting. So that's, we're using the standards. We have a preferred languages, the ATSI status, countries of birth, and many more. So I'll give you an example here that we may want to just look at the clients who are in, let me think, we'll deselect all and pick just a group of clients here. And there we go. We've got all of for the hours that have been delivered for clients in Fitzroy, Perth, Queenstown, and Woodvale. We can also do some filtering using the legend as well. So this is the power of the actual tool itself. So very easy to use, hover over and simple. You can also do things like only looking at a particular slice with drag and drop, which makes it easy. You can also take a screenshot just like that. So me taking a screenshot, I didn't have to use anything but my mouse, which is really easy. There's much more significant things that we can do with some data comparisons as well. So that's the tool itself. And now I'll just show you some further examples of what we would do with this visual. So I'll just filter this back to where we are. One of the other things with our visuals is to make sure that we give different views of the data, because you can see here that's really quite traditional in its visualization. But one of the other things is to be able to show not just the numbers and counting of things, which many of our KPIs are, but also proportions is very important. So alongside the client demographic values, we also have a proportionate graph here as well. So this is service hours by outlet. We actually might change it to back to revenue. Change it back to revenue. And then now we can actually have a look at which of the, by percentage, which of the service areas are giving us more revenue. So this is the tool. It's been really great for us, hasn't it, Adrian, to really take the essence of what we needed to do for people to make decisions and understand what's going on in their business, but in a very simple way.
Yes, and indeed, as we saw, we just looked a bit in detail. I mean, of course, given the short time we spent, in detail to two charts so far: the bar diagram above and the pie chart below, which is actually looking at the same data, but from different. The visualization allows us to actually draw different conclusions. Also, the power of the filters that let us select a variety of KPIs. Let us actually focus on areas that we are interested based on different demographic attributes or based on the different timeline we are after. Actually, de facto mean that you have really here few tens of really different graphs depending on the parameters that you are interested in. And that's actually just really, once you get used to the filters that are on the right-hand side and start using them, you'll see that you can drill as much as you wish in the data to get the information, the value you need. And these are just, for starters, traditional ways of looking at data. As I said, a bar diagram, a bar chart like here, and a pie chart.
Yeah, you're right there, Adrian. One of the other really focuses that we're doing is relating to consistency. The idea is for any of these things related to client, any of the visuals, you can do the filtering using all of the demographics. So the idea, it could be diagnosis, it could be many pieces of the data that you have, but we choose all of the ones that you want, and it's very consistent. So it's not different graphs behaving differently. Yeah. The filters are the same.
I would like just to add here, and that the technology is also suitable for any mobile device, including, say, a phone. But of course, it would be maybe, I would say, impractical to look at this information on a smaller screen. But that's not to say that you don't have this at your fingertips on the phone if you wish. It's really portable.
That's exactly right. And we have a big roadmap for VisiCase Analytics, and the idea is that we will, because VisiCase already has an engine for text messages, so we could set some parameters that if a particular indicator gets over or under a certain parameter, you'll get the normal text message. So they're the sorts of things that we're going to use the other features of VisiCase to introduce into analytics.
Yes.
And it's really nice for our wonderful current customers, because this particular client demographics visual is actually we're going to take that and put it inside our existing VisiCase system. So we're giving a taste of analytics inside standard VisiCase, which I think is awesome. Okay, using, of course, all of the VisiCase security. You don't need to have separate security on this system, because you log into VisiCase, and if you have the module, you get what access you have to your data inside VisiCase from your login. This is a big saving of time and effort, because usually with a data warehouse you have to overlay security, whereas this one here is not. We're actually using the existing security structure, which saves a lot of time. Okay, so I'll just go on to the next slide of the presentation. So the idea is that the standard KPIs are well catered for. They are catered for in very dynamic and simple to use visuals, and not lots of them. We actually pack the power into the actual tool to be able to do multiple analysis with the one visual. Though it'll usually be a trend one and a round one. I like round ones. I think Adrian's bit of a trend sort of a person, different people. And I like the color coding alerts as well. So that's sort of, for me, that's what I like. But we cater for the different learning styles. Okay, so that's our visual for client demographics. Looks so much better when it's actually interactive, doesn't it? You can see the difference. Okay, so now we'll go on to another subject area, just to give you a slice of this. And in our audience, I understand that Alan Howe is there. Alan is an absolute specialist and such a huge knowledge of NDIS and safety. And these visuals are a suite that are inspired by Alan in relation to what we're calling a safety clock. So thank you, Alan. You inspired us and we love it. That's why we like to do this in a very collaborative way. So again, that's the flat picture, but it's much easier if I show you on live. Oh, by the way, this is totally live using our demo system data. So, okay, so we've looked at the clients here. So I'm just going to close up the clients. There's many others, by the way. There's lots and lots and lots of these things that are all pretty fancy, but I won't show you the rest of those today. We'll move on to our safety area. One of the things that VisiCase does that many other systems don't is have a fully integrated incident management system inside VisiCase, so that when somebody's interacting with clients and on shifts, if an incident happens, which is hopefully not too often, that it's actually linked into the actual shift that was being done. So that can be all done nicely with trends. However, what we've done, as I said, inspired by Alan, is actually put some analysis in there that's quite different. What it is, it's inspired by the safety processes and systems that used in Kanban, which comes out of Toyota in Japan. So they're world's best practice safety visuals and management. So we've inspired by that, which they have a Kanban safety cross. But Alan's inspiration was, well, having the incidents by day and a trend is one thing, but really we are very interested in the day of the week, the time of the day, as the sorts of services that we provide. So that was a totally different lens for looking at incidents. So here it is. Look at this number of incidents here, which is already in VisiCase. We have our severity here and reportable incident major. So that's the standard pieces. And what we've done it in a weekly radar diagram, which is just so easy to see instead of, I think, a plot. And also in the circular visual is very important because it gives you more insights than just the numbers. For instance, one of the important things in incident management is to know whether people are reporting all their incidents, because some people get a bit averse about reporting incidents. And so you need to get a feel for whether it's a healthy environment for reporting incidents. And this little piece just here on Thursday, shows you to me that this is very healthy environment, because we have an equal balance of insignificant, minor and moderate incidents being reported. If there was a culture or of not reporting incidents, you wouldn't see very many light green at all. And then we've, of course, only got a fine slither of major and then reportable. So in this type of visual, you not only see, sorry, that's my mouse, you not only see the data itself, but you can start to get insights already without having to go looking for it. So we're really proud of this one. But this next one's where Alan just took it to the max. What we call this is the safety clock. And this is just amazing. What it does again, with the consistency, has the severities of the incidents, but it actually has by hour of the day. And you can see now that this is the time here at the moment. We're getting on till 12 o'clock. So this is a live visual of the data warehouse, and it shows you with the incidents, their severity, what time of the day most of the incidents happen. So you can see here for this particular area, you can see just after midnight is an area where things start to happen. Certainly in the morning, more incidents as well, and then you can see their severity actually picks up in the evening. Now this, of course, you can filter by client, you can filter by location, all of those filters that we have you can filter as well. But we get a little bit trickier because up here, of course, we've seen our day of the week, and wouldn't I like next to be able to tell, well, Thursday's the biggest day. What does that mean? So we double click on Thursday, and then our safety clock shows Thursday's incidents, which here, as you can see, a few in the evening, maybe medication related or something like that. And then their Thursday's profile is a little bit different with more of a morning incident management. So this tool not only lets you see things in a visual way and see health of, for instance, incidents, but it also lets you be able to drill down in a really sophisticated way to decide what you want to find out next. So we love this. This has not been done before. It's taken the Toyota and world's best practice incident management reporting for Kanban for Kaizen to another level. So we love this one.
There are two quite interesting aspects, which if you actually go up to the slide with the slices of cake and just here, the interesting thing is just without actually looking at the names or the fine print, the distribution between sponge and cream, as Fiona just said, gives you an idea about the reporting culture in the organization. So you see, that's valuable information that you can actually get just simply by glancing at it. So that's quite the interesting angle in which data can be mined. It's not necessarily shifting to piles of digits. Sometimes you really want to see when you're on the go, you want to actually get a quick view or get an idea about what's happening there, and that's a great example of that. Yes. On the other side, we have the safety clock, which actually really points to the right time of the day and so on, which is a real-time, it's a real-time graph. So in this case, it's also the way in which we present information helps you actually to make sense, to get out of the fog. So in contrast to what we showed with the KPIs, where we had some ways of say classical data visualization, bars and pies. Here, actually, we moved into new areas that are actually suitable for the purpose, for what we are here, the analysis at hand here. So it's not for the sake of actually getting new gadgets and things on the board. It's actually, we actually try to always find the things that actually suit the best purpose. And the power of the tool, which Fiona mentioned earlier, it's such that we actually can, so far we always found a good way of visualizing data that it fits that particular purpose.
This was a huge challenge though, Adrian. Thank you. It was a huge challenge because we had the vision first and then I had to work out how to do it. It's not easy.
It's a bit like synchronized swimming, yes. This is the bit above the water, but under the water was a lot of vigorous pedaling.
And guess what? The most important thing at the end of it that we had to have, according to our lovely CEO, so we had to have the current time on here because you knew what it was happening right out there at this minute in the field. And I got that, and that was the hardest thing of the lot. It was tricky. So anyway, we go we make it as good as we can. So yeah, thanks for that extra work there, Adrian.
No worries.
All right.
Anytime.
Okay. There are other visuals with radars to do with the type of incident and everything, just to give you a bit of a snippet. But anyway, that's our highlights of visuals of the incidents and safety. Again, this is very, very linked, as I said, with Alan, and also very linked to the indicators that people are going to be expected to report and need to report coming out of the Aged Care and Disability Royal Commission. So these indicators are directly linked to the needs of that. So the idea is for us to also, a lot of the visuals we have on our roadmap come directly from the words out of those two Royal Commissions. Okay, so that's safety. Let's go up and pick another colour. Okay, this one here is, we'll skip down to finance, and I've left the fancy one towards the end. So we're actually going to look at margins. So it sounds a little bit boring, margins. You've seen the types of finance graphs and everything. I know there's finance people there and it's really important, but this gives you something entirely different. One of the important things that we have in VisiCase that was really hard to get to, but now it's been taken out of the fog, is margins. the idea here is we already have the timesheets that our workers have put in to the level of timesheets and allowances to the SHADS awards. So it doesn't have things like superannuation or some of those high level overheads, but it has the core pieces already in VisiCase by hours and dollars. It also, of course, has hours and dollars of the services we're providing. So what we do is we take the dollars in relation to the timesheets and the allowances for the workers, compare that to the invoices that we send the client, giving us a base margin. So that is something that is new. The data's always been there, but trying to extract it, we've spent a lot of time with our experts getting that data right. And then we said we can't have that in a really boring looking presentation. So this is a starburst drill down. What this does for this particular time frame, and it gives you all the filters, of course, what it says for this time frame and this particular area, this is the margin for that time frame. And we say, oh, that's all very nice, but what does that mean? What we've done is split it up into margin bands. So this is people or dollars that had a margin of 21 to 50%. This one here is margin of 1 to 20%. This one here is the margin of 51 to 70. So that's nice and green because we're doing really well with that. And some really other margins here, which is really big margins. So then we put it in what we call the starburst drill down so that people can very easily see at a glance where things are with margin. So you can click into here with the big margins. You can also then here, if we're looking at the 21 to 50% margin, which is about what you'd want, we can then see that Perth is the star, Hobart, Woodvale, and others. But we can also then say, okay, let's see what's happening in Launceston. And you can then, and we can drill down into this, but this actually then, it's de-identified, shows every single client and the perspective of their margin. So I'll pick something that's a little bit smaller so you can see that a bit easier. So here we go in Glenelg. You can see the actual margins for each of these. And of course, as part of the system, we'll be able to, we can click on this and you'll actually see the details of the transactions and where the margin came from. So again, we're using color, we're using movement to be able to drill down into the areas that you want to focus on, the good and the bad. Okay, so we love a starburst, don't we, Adrian?
So the comment I would like to, it's yes, the starburst is actually a new type of drilling down, which is very much suitable for touch devices such as tablets.
Yes, works really well. It works really well on a mobile. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, and the availability of the data, while the structure has been in the system for quite some time, the availability of data that powers these graphs depends on each of your installation, if there is availability of a word interpreted data or not. So that it actually depends on the context in which the system is run in your organization.
But yeah, to actually have that extra piece of data makes a huge difference, doesn't it, Adrian? Absolutely yes. Huge difference to take it from just hours to margin.
Yes, correct. But as I said, data depends on the context in which VisiCase is running each organization.
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right. So this I would suggest is insights that are very rarely seen, and very rarely being able to just drag and drop. I've got lots of other visuals that you can do, the top 10, top 20, all those sorts of things. So that's one of the very, very exciting pieces. And so that's a snippet about our margins. So that's for all of the finance people and seniors in the room. And now we're going to talk about recruitment. Always a challenge in our industry because there's not recruiting enough people and retaining them is a challenge. It has been for quite some time. And this one here is inspired by our absolutely wonderful clients at RFQ in Queensland. And they actually haven't seen this yet, so I'm hoping that they like the start of it. So what this does, and I've done this before at another place that I worked at, is we actually take and want to see what is the profile of workers that we need for the future. So we're going into predictive analytics here. So what we have done is in VisiCase, the forward projections and the forward rosters are actually put in the system so that all of the planning can be done. Our clients have their plans, their healthcare, their aged care plan or their NDIS plan. So all of the shifts that they need's already in there. There'll be some people come in and out, but for recruiting purposes, this works really well. And rather than just do a list of how many hours, what I've done here is use the power of analytics to actually group the hours of the shift that's needed that we can't fill at the moment into the future, and then grouping it into the sort of where availabilities people would be available. Some people might be only available mornings, weekdays, or mornings on the weekend, or only in the weekend, or overnight. They could just do sleepovers. But I also added one in here, and I didn't even know this was going to happen. I thought, gee, maybe there'd be people who have been out of the workforce and have children who they would be really happy to work just school hours. So I put this grouping into the mix with the predictive analysis of our optimizer for VisiCase rostering. And guess what? How would your recruitment team like to be able to have this to show for this particular company there is such a large need for people who, and a demand for workers who can work during school hours. So that means then they could really comfortably do a great campaign for recruiting people who have school children, and they'd be able to guarantee that these people would have those shifts. So this is the sort of thing that predictive analysis can do once we've got the data. So you were surprised, weren't you, Adrian?
Yes.
When this turned out, it's not staged. It was absolutely dead set real.
Correct. That was an interesting angle, which it proves that in fact there is a learning curve for everybody, including for Fiona, which you've been actually looking into analyzing data for years, and still this actually is very, very good to find such gems. And I know that you actually have also more thoughts about how to take this actually even further.
I have actually. I've actually done an analysis where it actually shows a report or a visual for recruitment to actually say 2 weeks out, 4 weeks out, and how many ever months out, how many hours with what types of skill set people required and what sort of hours they required. So you can get down to actually targeted recruitment by skill set and understand. You can also, I overlay that with where existing workers who have particular skills maybe not utilizing those skills and should be able to fill some of the more immediate needs of the clients, because you really do need a strong analytical engine to be able to pull out those insights. So it does exist, and this is a nice simple one yeah. I just blew the HR department away, because they'd always say, well, I don't know, who am I meant to recruit? Well, here you go, and this is self-service for them, so blew them away. So it's great fun. Adrian, you've had a few insights over the times as well that we've just been really surprised, like with the safety clock and when there was issues, the time of the day it was. Amazing.
Yes. It is a learning curve, and now that we are touching this, it's a learning curve also for us. As Fiona alluded, we have actually had the various iteration of the module so far, and this is the one that most likely will be actually released next year. And part of this journey is we actually started first, as Fiona mentioned, by getting directions from Alan Then we also had to look at the technical side of the things. We actually tried different tools, and some of them we found that we could not use them for various reasons. And then we found the right tool to actually underlie the module, and then we started working with it. We actually have done quite a fair bit of for the purpose of this new release. We have done a lot of stuff in the background, preparing the kitchen, usually the kind of kitchen type stuff, cybersecurity. We were looking at access, seamless integration between VisiCase and analytics, and all these sort of things, which were actually quite important tasks, and we actually addressed those.
It's interesting though, Adrian. We look at all this brand new stuff, and this new stuff is just awesome. However, actually with the back end security and infrastructure, we went and looked at everything else, and we came back to we need to use what VisiCase is doing, like VisiCase's security. So it's actually interesting. This slotted in really beautifully with the technology.
Yeah. Now with most of these, say, preparatory things out of the way, we will actually put more effort in expanding the scope of the analysis that we are actually that is in the product. And we already had discussions and with some of you around the table, and we are also open to further ideas and to get this in directions that are meaningful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Adrian. So that is our analytics highlights. As I said, there's lots of other things we actually have already built, and I think there's about 75 really good ideas on my roadmap as well. So we will be working with our clients as to which priorities, and also adding to it as we go along. But it's just so exciting to be able to take the data that's inside VisiCase and actually make it actionable and visible. So for us, getting out of the fog, I'm absolutely sure that this is helping. So that's VisiCase Analytics. Thank you, Adrian and Tony.
Thank you, Fiona. Good.
Thank you. And I think we'll just do move to the next slides. If you want to take it over, Adrian.
I'll just do this one or the next one. Oh, hang on. So even then, I didn't need the slides, did I? Here we go.
So just to give you a bit of a timeline. So we're obviously wanting to make sure that when we're releasing the module, that all the tweaks and balances are done, which we'll be doing in January. And then we'll be launching Business Analytics in February. And then we'll be offering a trial with our existing clients as well, to be able to have first go at it. And we'll touch on some other promotional stuff in a moment as well. So Adrian, if you want to sort of cover off anything else in the last, sorry.
Oh, sorry, no, I'll go back. Sorry, no, I'll leave it there.
Okay, just leave it there. So Adrian, if you just want to cover off or even take over the 5 minutes.
Yes.
Anything final that you'd like to add?
And sorry, well, I'm just got the mic. Thanks for your questions, and also Brown, thanks for your comment. And in fact, my reply, which I just posted, was typing. In fact, it's for Chris's question there in regards to SIL and quick logs. Thank you very much for that. So yes, as Tony mentioned, we are now in the stage of refining the concept, the product, and we actually have a few things on our plate for this release, and they are actually adding more capabilities for this release. Now, analytics will start basically with the next release, and we continue for the future releases of VisiCase. And part of that, we will actually increase its capabilities, and mostly we will look at the sort of trends and predictive analysis, which today we got an example of the predicting demand, staff demand, and we'll go into that a bit more. We'll look at type of skills and so on, based on on the care plans and so on. That will be also trends trend analysis that we have planned. Further down the track, in subsequent releases, we will also look at having the ability to accept also data from outside VisiCase, with the purpose of trying to get you those elusive board reports that offer actually. So I use this term for because in general they are prepared for boards, but actually they offer an overview of the organization from different angles. Operations, VisiCase focuses on operations. That's one of the angles. But in order to bring some other sort of information and being able to visualize it in a nice interactive way, we will also looking at getting the ability to import data from other sources and mix it together with data from operations. So that will be
things like budgets and overheads in particular. I'd love to add in that. They're the sorts of things that I was thinking of to start with, but I know everybody will have great ideas.
Yes, and also in points from our roadmap that we're looking for the next release, which will be middle of next year or after the middle of next year. So we are looking at other items, and surprisingly, this is one that we kind of learned, or we were, say, guided, not guided, sorry, we were actually pushed by COVID, basically. So we are looking at getting some telehealth capabilities in VisiCase. One would ask, really, yet another video conferencing tool, like we are using Teams, we are using Zoom, we are using numerous other products. But having such a feature in VisiCase, and that's not the next release, that will be the release after, will allow actually very solid billing, because if telehealth type sessions for counseling or other purposes will be actually automatically getting the billing. You have control and a full record of who attended and so on, all these details that if you use an external tool, you'll actually have to record them separately. So we do not pretend that our telehealth tool is going to have, I don't know, fancier backgrounds or whatever, but being integrated actually will bring you some efficiencies in your work.
Yeah, right. Also the visibility for the clients and things about their consultations and being on their client portal. How good's that? And you don't actually have to do anything to do that, because it'll automatically flow through to the client portal.
Yes.
Game changer, I think, Adrian.
Yes. Yes. So thank you, Tony. Over to you.
Okay, if you don't mind going to the last slide, please. All right. So as we said before, we're going to offer a trial for our existing clients, which is great. And we'll send you through an email following this in the next 7 days, just to reflect how to get on that trial. And for future clients, we'll be doing the same and sending some sort of promotional material through, as well as how you can sign up with VisiCase and take advantage of our business analytics module as well. So that'll come through on your inbox. Further, we'll make this webinar is recorded, so we'll send you a copy of this if you're wanting to share it within your teams and have further discussion. And if you obviously have any further inquiries, please feel free to direct them through to, if you just, I don't mind going to the last slide. I'm not sure it's on there. Yep. So there's an email address on there, or feel free to call that number and ask for myself, Tony, or Colin, and we'll be more than happy to help you in whatever way we can. So we've actually finished a little bit early. I think it might be a good time to maybe address some of those questions. Looks like Adrian has addressed all of the questions.
So what was the best question, Adrian? What were your top two?
Well, there is, I think there is a question from Chris, which I think we need to actually look into it further in regards to group actions and seal and so on. And very good comments, and also, yes, so the location,
in relation to group activities and seals with the margins, it's impossible, I think, just about to get that sort of information except through here. Because it understands sleepovers, it understands sills, it understands group activities, it understands split groups, all those sorts of things. So all of that things that you'd have to usually use a spreadsheet or a data warehouse to do, because it comes inside VisiCase, it already knows these things.
Yes.
If anyone has any other questions they'd like to add, feel free to either put that into the general chat, or it seems like that's what people are using at the moment. And we can answer them with the last few minutes we have, if you like. Has anyone else got any other questions? Okay. Might give it 30 seconds or so, just to see if anyone's got any final comments or questions. All right. Well, it looks like while we're waiting for that, looks like we're pretty well summed up. Thank you very much to Adrian and Fiona for hosting this. I hope everyone's as excited as we are to launch this and to use it within the VisiCase platform. And we look forward to feedback and working with you all in the future.